live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Loungetime. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today we have NFL Week 15. We picked the card for this weekend. A lot of big games, some interconference matchups, Packers-Broncos, that we have to keep an eye on. Plus, we also have the first college football playoff predictions for this bracket officially that was revealed on Sunday afternoon. We will pick the bracket. Depending how I feel, I might want to go one round at a time. And then maybe what we'll do is we'll do the eventual champion at the end when I pick it, because there is a couple teams I think that can win it, but I'm going to pick it live on the show. So, without further ado, let's get right into the NFL card this week. Now, I am going to pick the NFL games. I'm not doing any more Survivor picks because it's 4 weeks, and at this point, just pick anybody. You know what I mean? Just, that's where we're at. You know, it's hard now. Tampa losing to the Saints, that was bad. I think I might have picked Tampa. I don't think I did pick Tampa in this pool. I might have took them with the Saints. That was a while ago before I was eliminated. So I gave those people wrong picks. So no more Survivor picks. We're done. Just pick whoever you want, I guess, the last 4 weeks. But let's get into the NFL Week 15 picks, starting with tonight. The Falcons travel to Tampa to take on the Bucs, where the Bucs are 5.5-point favorites. The over and under is listed at 43.5 points. I like Tampa tonight. Even though they're struggling, Atlanta will play them tough. Kirk Cousins has not been the quarterback that they believe that he would be. And I think that Baker Mayfield and company, this is the perfect game to get right with a big divisional showdown next week when they play Carolina, which they're going to need. So this is a game I think the Bucs get right. Mike Evans is expected to make his return tonight, which is big. So is Jalen McMillan. So the Bucs get 2 top receivers back. That's going to be really good, and I think this is the week where the Bucs get right. They go on a really strong start to go into the postseason. Strong end to the postseason, the last 4 games. I have the Bucs winning this game. Now, as far as the score prediction goes, so 43.5, right? So this is kind of 24-20-ish, even though it's really 6. So I'm going to go 23-16. Tampa beats Atlanta. And that is what I got. And the Bucs are going to roll into the postseason with a win streak starting tonight. Let's go to Sunday's action. The Browns travel to Chicago to take on the Bears, where the Bears are 7.5-point favorites. The over and under is listed at 38.5 points. I'm taking Chicago. I'm not even wasting time on this. The Bears, tough loss in Lambeau, showed some good signs. Dennis Allen's defense against a rookie quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. I really like the Bears because I think the run game is going to have their moments where they're going to be really good, but I do think Caleb Williams is going to have to show in situations now. He's going to be the guy that's going to be able to win games for them in January if the Bears are supposed to be a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs. Although that's what I think Jim Schwartz is going to do on defense, because he's going to say, all right, Caleb Williams, you beat me. You're not going to let Monangai and DeAndre Swift beat me. Nope. You're going to have to beat me making some throws, like Green Bay said, and he didn't make the throws against Green Bay, but I think he'll make them against Cleveland. Give me the Bears. We're going to go 30-13 on the Browns. The Bears win, move to 10-4. The Jets travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars, where the Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites. The over and under is listed at 41.5 points. Now, I'm just going to pull up the clinching scenarios. This does not involve this game. It involves a couple future games I have to pick, so I want to make sure I have those scenarios ready to go. I'm not even wasting too much time on this. I've got Jacksonville. I think that Jacksonville should win this game. I expect that they will. The Jets have been sneaking a couple wins that people did not think they would. And I do think that Jacksonville, big game in Denver the following week, that's going to be huge. I think Jaguars know the Texans are making their push. I am going to go with the Jags to win. I'm trying to set this up real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Jaguars 31, Jets 10. I'm not banking on the Jets to score a lot of points in this game. So I'm going with the Jags to win pretty convincingly. Let me get to the playoff picture. I want to see if they have the clinching scenarios for you guys. Tie-breaking procedures now. Okay. They do not say at the moment. Oh, here we go. That's what I was waiting on. Because I know a few games we're going to need are going to talk about this. But I'm going to save it for... Yep, 3 teams can clinch playoff spots. So I want to have them set and ready to go. So, Jaguars 31-10 over the Jets. Not even wasting time on this. The Raiders travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, where the Eagles are an 11.5-point favorites, and the over and under is listed at 38.5 points. And Kenny Pickett is supposed to start for the Raiders. Kenny Pickett starting for the Raiders. Oh boy. The Eagles should win this game. I expect them to. Traveling all the way back from LA on a short week. Back to Philadelphia. Early start too. Do think the Eagles can put 27 up. I do. Now, the Raiders with Pickett. I'd be shocked if they scored over 10 points this game. I would be. I got 27-10 Eagles. I think they handle the Raiders. I think their defense will play much better than they have of recent weeks. And I think that this is a good game for the offense to get right. Hopefully look like they can be competent. But they're going to need to get rolling. And I don't know if they're going to get rolling with the way they're playing. Then again, what I expect versus what will happen is probably 2 different outcomes. Eagles win 27-10. They beat the Raiders and continue to stay atop the NFC East. The Buffalo Bills travel to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots, where the Bills are 1.5-point favorites on the road. And the over and under is listed at 49.5 points. So the odds makers say, we're home dogs. So they like the Bills, huh? Okay. I actually don't have a problem with that. Because everybody wants to talk about how Buffalo's been playing lately, how they've owned us in the division the last 5 years since post-Tom Brady era. But for those of you that care about playoff clinching scenarios, New England clinches a playoff berth with a win, or a tie plus Chargers loss, or a tie plus Texans loss, or tie plus Colts loss or tie, or tie plus Jacksonville loss, or Houston loss or tie plus Colts loss or tie, as long as both of those games do not end in a tie. So basically we have to win, or Chargers lose, or Texans lose, or Colts lose, plus Jags losing. You just look up the playoff clinching scenarios, but I'm just trying to get it in a nutshell. But New England clinches the AFC East division title with a win. So, this is the biggest game for the Patriots post-Tom Brady. Because what this game could do, if you beat Buffalo, not only do we win the division, they have to go on the road for the playoffs. That's big. Now, obviously, the 1 seed, I also think would be just us and Denver. That's how I would see it. Unless Jacksonville somehow beats Denver in Denver, which I low-key kind of need to happen for the Patriots to get the 1 seed. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. New England's red hot. They are. I told you guys last week, I want to say, or on Monday's show, that I had vibes of this game being like 2021, where they won in Buffalo earlier in the year, and then Josh Allen played 2 perfect games where the Bills didn't punt in the last 2 meetings that season. I don't think that's going to happen. But they are playing much better of late. And I think that this is a pivotal game to make them have to go on the road in the playoffs. Because if you do let them win this game, then you have to sweat a tough Baltimore team in Baltimore, which, mind you, I don't care what the records are. They will always play us tough. It don't matter if it's in Gillette. It don't matter if it's in M&T Bank Stadium. They will always play us tough no matter what the records are too. And I have countless games I can go into the Patriots-Ravens rivalry since 2004 where they played us extremely tough. Ignore my house phone ringing while I am doing this. I will say this to you. This is a game New England has to win because you have to get Buffalo to go on the road in the wild card, and you do not want that Ravens game looming where that's a toss-up game. I don't care what the records are, but you don't want to go into these 2 tough games losing both because Buffalo can gain ground if they win. And on top of that, the Bills play the Browns, they play the Jets, and they play the Eagles as their last 3 games. So this is really their toughest game left on their schedule. You could argue the Eagles game, but the way the Eagles look, not really. So, but I also am a realist, okay? And I know people are going to say to me, well, Rich, you guys have won 10 in a row. Do you want to go in the playoffs red hot, or do you want to have them lose a game like the Eagles did last year and then they went on a run? There are 2 sides to that coin, okay? And it's a 50-50 feel on how that goes. I understand the argument of you want to win as many games as you can and you want to win out to get the 1 seed. And you want to be hot going into the playoffs. But I also understand the other angle where the Eagles lost in Washington, and they weren't trying to lose that game. They lost in Washington, but it was close. And that was the loss that reminded them, okay, we're not invincible, but we know what we need to fix going into the playoffs if we want to make a run. I understand that. And the Eagles were red hot at that point, too, in Washington. And that was week 16, I want to say, because that was when they were on, and they started out, 2-2? So they were on, I want to say it was an 11-game win streak at this point, and this is pretty close to that number from last year. So I know I picked us to lose in Buffalo early in the year when I made the predictions at the time. This is the game I thought they would win when I looked at the meetings, because I'm like, okay, we could split with them. And I thought in New England would have been the game we would have won, and that they would have beat us in Buffalo. That's where I thought the split would have happened, okay? But you know what? Johan gets on me for not having confidence in my team, and it's not that I don't. It's just I also know that, again, there are times I could see us losing a game. But strictly out of pride and the fact that I want this team to get the 1 seed, and I love that we're the underdog in this case. I really do. I'm going to take my New England Patriots. I am. I think this is a game that Drake May, we need to get the MVP case going back again. It's us and Stafford, really. That's how I look at it. Taylor's going to be out because his quarterback play sucks, but it's not his fault. Drake May needs to have a really good game. And he has a moment where he went into Buffalo game-winning drive and upset Josh Allen earlier. I think if he wins this game, he moves up in the odds, and I think it's really close between him and Matthew Stafford going into the final 3 weeks of the season. So, and I will say this, I think somehow, some way, Josh Allen plays pretty average against us sometimes. But then again, I've seen him be Superman. I'm taking the Patriots to win, and I want to make sure I have a good score on this. So last time it was 23-20 in week 5. I am going to go 24-20. New England beats Buffalo. I trust Drake May, Josh McDaniels with the extra week. Looking at how Buffalo looked a little shaky against Cincinnati. First half against Pittsburgh too. They looked a little shaky. And I know that second half they turned it up where they were really, really good. So I'm going with the Pats 24-20. I am going to have faith in my team. I think we can still get the 1 seed. You have to win at least this game or in Ravens because Denver, who we'll get to in a minute, could lose at home to Green Bay, who's also playing good football. So I'm rooting for us to get the 1 seed. You damn straight I want it. And plus, I want to stick it to the Chiefs bandwagon since we made the playoffs. So I'm going with the Patriots 24-20 on the Bills. I'm going to have confidence in my team that we can do this. Although I'm going to be honest, this is a game I could see us being a little bit of a sweat where we might lose. But I'm going to have confidence in the belief that we're going to win. Cardinals travel to Houston to take on the Texans, where the Texans are 8.5-point favorites. The over-and-under is at 42.5 points. Houston Texans, without ease, without question, give me the Texans. This team is red hot. I've been saying it for weeks now. Dangerous 7 seed, no one wants to play. Can they score on the Cardinals? Yes. Do I hope that they win? Absolutely, because I do not want them in the 7 seed, and I want them to make Jacksonville sweat that division, because what would be even better is if Jacksonville lost the division and the Texans won the South, then I'm like, okay, at least they get a home playoff game and we don't have to worry about them first round. Give me the Texans to win, and I'm going to say 23-13. I think this is going to be a little low scoring because I have questions about the Texans offense. I think Gannon will have a couple blitzes that he will throw at Stroud, but Texans offense will do enough. 23-13 Texans. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, where the Ravens are 2.5-point favorites on the road. The over-and-under is at 51.5 points. So I had notes yesterday that I think the over-and-under was at 52.5, if I'm not mistaken, from yesterday. So now it's bumped down a point. So a little money coming on the under. So 2 weeks ago, Bengals won in Baltimore on Thanksgiving Day. For those of you that actually watch football on Thanksgiving. The Ravens have a brutal schedule to end the year. In Cincinnati, home to New England, in Lambeau, in Green Bay. Basically the same place, but I call it in Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. So I should say in Green Bay. And then in Pittsburgh to close out the year. They need to win this game for the division because, honestly, the Steelers don't look that great either. But the Bengals, I feel like, even though they're technically done and they're not going to win the North, I kind of like them at home to beat the Ravens because I look at what Al Golden did to Lamar Jackson. He blitzed him, and Lamar Jackson looked like shit. And the Ravens, this is a must-win game for them, absolutely. But the Bengals, I'm a little more concerned now because Joe Burrow kind of hinted that it's getting vibes of like Andrew Luck retirement early. And I'm like, no, not one of the really good quarterbacks in the game. That he's not having fun. This is very, very, very nerve-wracking if you're a Bengals fan. But I'm going to take the Bengals to upset the Ravens because I'm going to tell you why. The Ravens' defense is not fully fixed. I think Lamar Jackson, he will score points. I just don't think he's going to outduel Joe Burrow again in Cincinnati. And the Ravens look like, to me, a team that is collapsing before our eyes. And John Harbaugh, I don't think, has lost the locker room. But it very much feels like this team is just done. Their window's closed. And I'm going to say what I don't think I said on Monday. I think we're seeing a changing of the guard in the AFC of Denver and New England with young rookie quarterbacks, well, now year 2 quarterbacks, that now can go get more pieces around them with those cheap contracts, with coaches that have great winning pedigrees in the playoffs. And on top of that, the Ravens from 5 years ago, they had a window. It's closing. The Bengals window is closing. The Chiefs window is closing. And if Buffalo ever lost in the playoffs, their window is closing. So a changing of the guard is happening before our eyes in the AFC. Both of these teams are part of that window that's closing. I do think the Bengals win because I have a feeling Joe Burrow is going to play out of his mind great. Jamar Chase should score against the Ravens. He didn't on Thanksgiving Day, which I was surprised. I got the Bengals winning a shootout, 31-27 in Cincinnati. Give me the 2.5 with the Bengals, and I'm guaranteeing that the Bengals upset the Ravens as home dogs, the first of many on this show. Bengals win 31-27, upset the Ravens. The Chargers travel to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are still 5.5-point favorites. The over and under is at 41.5 points. I am no longer doing Chiefs bandwagon rants this season. I'm done. This team is done. I have seen you bandwagons make tiring, countless, lame excuses that I am sorry, I'm not sitting for anymore. They'll blame Andy Reid. They'll blame Matt Nagy. They'll blame the play calling. They'll blame the scheme. They'll blame the receivers dropping passes. They'll blame that they have no running game. They will not blame how bad Mahomes has played this season. Although I did watch the Chargers Monday night and their offensive line looked absolutely horrible. And I know Spagnuolo is going to send heat. The question is, can Justin Herbert outduel Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead again and completely go for the TKO in UFC terms? And yes, I've been watching UFC lately with a couple of my friends. So I'm trying to incorporate some UFC terms. So the Chargers are going for the TKO on the Chiefs. Just because I am so sick of these bandwagons and the fact that they are still looking for playoff scenarios to get in. And it involves the Chargers losing a combination of 2 of their last 4 games, or 3 of their last 4 games, which they do involve Houston, they involve them, they involve in Denver. But the Chargers can go for the KO, and I want the TKO. Give me the Chargers out of spite. This will be a low-scoring game, a little bit of a nail-biter. I got 20-17. Chargers upset the Chiefs and say goodbye to the bandwagons for the remainder of the 2025 season. They will be irrelevant. We will not talk about this team anymore. Fuck you, Chiefs bandwagons. Stop coming up with fake playoff scenarios that are not going to go your way. And stop with the lame Mahomes excuses. Your quarterback sucks this season. He's played awful. Brady never missed the playoffs in his prime. I will never entertain this GOAT conversation ever again. And I said on Monday, do not ever compare Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady never missed the playoffs in his prime. And go watch Monday's episode, because there's a whole lot more. But I'm done talking about this fucking bandwagon team. And I want them all in hibernation. Chargers win 20-17. Washington Commanders travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants, where the Giants are 2.5-point favorites. The over and under is listed at 46.5 points. I really want the Commanders to beat the Giants, but if I'm being totally honest, I do think the Giants win this game. I was going to take the Commanders 2.5 points. I'm kind of tempted to with Daniels back, but I think Washington, how are they going to stop Jackson Dart? I'm going to go with the Giants in a low-scoring game in this one. I'm going to go 17-16 Giants. They will win the game, but I do think Washington covers the 2.5. Because I actually do see a scenario where Jaden Daniels does outduel Jackson Dart and wins, but I'm going with the Giants because I've liked a little bit what I've seen from them, and Dart's playing, so I'm going with the Giants by 17-16 over the Commanders. The Colts travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, where the Seahawks are 13.5-point favorites. The over and under is at 42.5 points. And for those of you wondering, yes, Phillip Rivers is on the Colts practice squad. I never thought I would be saying this in 2025, but he is. Being nearly 5 years out of the league. It don't matter if it's Phil Simms. It doesn't matter if it's Dr. Phil. It doesn't matter if it's Doc Rivers. The Seahawks are still winning this game. I am taking Seattle to win 34-13. Colts might get a garbage time touchdown. Maybe some fluke one. Seattle handles them convincingly because Seattle is really good, and they might have a defensive touchdown. They might have a special teams touchdown. They have been on a tear, and they know the big game that looms next Thursday night, which is going to be a hell of a game. 34-13, Seattle Seahawks dominate the Colts, and Phillip Rivers looks like the old senior citizen quarterback that he is while watching football on the couch. The Titans travel to San Francisco to take on the Niners, where the Niners are 12.5-point favorites. The over and under is at 44.5 points. Need I say less? Give me the Niners. I'm going with them 30-10 on the Titans. I know they got to win against Cleveland, but the Niners, they fresh off a bye. Shanahan against that Titans defense, please. They will light them up, whether it's McCaffrey in the running game or in the passing game. Kittle's back. Give me the Niners. Purdy or Mac Jones. Well, no, it's Purdy. So Purdy has a field day. 30-10. Titans are horrible. Need I say more? The Lions travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, where the Rams are 6-point favorites. The over and under is at 54.5 points. Okay, so the total has gone down by a point. I think this was 55.5. Now it's 54.5 from what I saw from yesterday. Now, the Lions have won both of the recent regular season matchups by one score. In the playoffs, they won 24-23, and they won 26-20 in Detroit last year in overtime, week 1. So the Lions have been on the winning end of this matchup, but the Rams, they have a chance to make the postseason, and I'll tell you how, ladies and gentlemen, they basically clinch a playoff berth with a win. So, looking at how the Rams have played the Lions closely the last 2 years, I feel like they are the better team. I am not convinced that the Lions will win this game. I feel like they are not going to win this game. I think the Lions do not have the defense to stop the Rams. If Dak Prescott put up 30 points on the Lions in Detroit last week, what do you think Matthew Stafford's going to put up on his former team with a real shot to win MVP? Yeah, he's going to have a field day. I am going to go with the Rams. I think they put up, and I think they're going to put up a lot. I think they're going to put up 38 points. I do think the Lions will score. I'm going to say 38-23. Rams beat the Lions, and they clinch a playoff spot with a win. They will get in the playoffs and officially clinch a spot. The Packers travel to Denver, Mile High, to take on the Broncos, where they are 2.5-point favorites on the road. The Packers, yes. 42.5 is the total. I am going to be a big fan of the Packers this week because I need the Denver Broncos to lose games for the Patriots to get the 1 seed. Jordan Love, you got a real shot to grow up and prove you should be in the conversation as a finalist to win MVP. You're not going to win it, but you're going to have a real strong case to do that. Can he turn back the clock from 2 years ago? Yes, he can. Do I think he will? Hopefully. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. This Denver defense is really good too. I think Matt LaFleur, they're going to have to lean on Josh Jacobs, get a running game going. I've got the Packers to win this game. Please beat the Broncos. I am holding out hope. I've got 23-17. The Packers beat Bo Nix. Denver's looked a little leaky lately, and they've looked like shaky ground, also riding a 10-game winning streak. I think that the Packers snap that winning streak, and they win on the road, 23-17 in Mile High. Broncos lose, and the Patriots hopefully get the 1 seed. But if not, as long as the Broncos lose and we're still on even ground going into the last 3 weeks. Carolina travels to New Orleans to take on the Saints, where the Panthers are 2.5-point favorites. The over and under is at 40.5 points. Need I say more? Oh, I forgot to give you guys the Broncos clinching scenarios real fast. So the Broncos clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie plus Chargers loss, or a tie plus Jacksonville loss, or a tie plus Texans loss, a tie plus Colts loss or tie, or Texans and Colts losing or tying as long as both games don't end in tie, which that makes no sense. Just basically say Colts or Texans losing is the last scenario. That's the Broncos clinching scenarios, but basically they have to win to get in, or teams have to lose. Back to the Panthers Saints for a brief moment. So those of you that just caught it, 2.5-point favorites the Panthers are in New Orleans. Over and unders at 40.5. Carolina lost to New Orleans in Carolina early in the year. I don't think they're going to lose again. Carolina knows they have a real chance to win the division. I like Bryce Young and company, though, to win. I'm going to say 21-17. Carolina beats the Saints. That's what I'm going to go with. The Vikings travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, where the Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites. 5.5-point favorites. The over and under is at 47.5 points. I really want to take the over, but I don't trust J.J. McCarthy scoring points. I don't. Forget what you saw last week. I do think the Cowboys will score. I do. I got the Cowboys winning, and this is right at the total too. Wow. You know what? I think it might go over, but I'm going to go 31-17 Cowboys over the Vikings. I do not trust that J.J. McCarthy is going to do anything special in this game. How the Vikings are going to score 17, they might even score lower. I'm just trying to be reasonable for what I think I could see. Maybe the Vikings get a pick six on Dak. Maybe they get a special teams touchdown. Who knows? But I'm going with the Cowboys 31-17. I think that the Cowboys will score on Brian Flores' blitz-heavy defense. I think that their defense might make a play, and I like them to win the game outright. They'll cover, and I think they'll stay with the Eagles, but the sweat becomes, do the Eagles lose any of their last 4 games, and how does Dallas crawl their way back in? Not going to be easy, though, since you lost last Thursday, but I don't think they win the East anyway. Give me the Cowboys, though, 31-17. Monday night, the Miami Dolphins travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, where the Steelers are 3-point favorites. The over and under is at 41.5 points. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate the Miami Dolphins because they beat my team at least once a season, sometimes sweep us the last 2 seasons, and I hate this team. I don't care about them. But if I'm being honest, I like them to upset the Steelers on Monday night. I don't like the way the Steelers look. Again, I think that their running game has been on an absolute insane stretch lately. Devon Achane, I honestly bet Miami +3. I would bet Devon Achane anytime touchdown, and I don't know what I would do for a third leg if I did a same game parlay on this, but I'll tell you right now, I don't like the total in this game. I think Miami wins. I do. I think Miami wins. I think Miami wins 23-20. Because I don't think Miami's defense is that improved. The Steelers will score a little bit. But I like Miami to win by a field goal. So I think Miami, give me the 3 points. Devon Achane, anytime touchdown. I like Miami to upset him. I don't think the Steelers look any bit special offensively. And I'm going with them to pull off the upset. And as another upset that I have on the weekend, give me the Miami Dolphins to upset the Steelers 23-20 in Heinz Field. Or I don't know. I think they might have changed the stadium name, but I will always call it Heinz Field. So, and I don't know if TJ Watt's going to play because as I am pulling up the college football playoff bracket, he is in the hospital having his lung evaluated. Hope everything is good with TJ Watt. That would absolutely be unfortunate if he cannot play on Monday for a big game for them to make a late push to win the division. All right, so now what we're going to do is this. We're going to make the college football playoff bracket. I'm going to pick the first round games, and then I'm going to quickly kind of go through the second round matchups. But we're going to go by the, I don't know if I want to say TV showing time. So Alabama, Oklahoma plays Friday, and then you've got A&M Miami at 12 on Saturday, followed by Ole Miss Tulane, and then JMU Oregon. Follow how I'm going to do this? Okay. So, Friday night, number 9 Alabama travels to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners, where this is a winner who will play Indiana in the Rose Bowl. And Oklahoma beat Alabama a month ago in Tuscaloosa, where I bet fucking Bama for once and fucking lost because they sold my parlay. Another added reason why I hate Alabama. And I'll tell you what, honestly, guys, I don't think Alabama should have ever been in the playoff, but because this college football playoff loves to be SEC bias and fucking dick sucks Alabama like there is no tomorrow, I want the committee to look like absolute shit for putting Alabama in because they are not worthy of being in the playoff over Notre Dame. Oklahoma beat them once earlier last month. I'm going with Oklahoma again to win. And I'm going to say this is going to be a rough outing because Alabama has no running game. We saw it against Georgia. They couldn't really run the ball in Oklahoma well. Give me the Sooners to win. And this is going to be a similar score, I feel like, to one of my NFL games I picked. I am going to go 24-16. Oklahoma will beat Alabama, and they will go to the Rose Bowl to play Indiana. 24-16. Oklahoma beats Alabama at home, and they go play Indiana. So I got Oklahoma ending Alabama. I want the committee to make them look like shit for putting them in. Now we'll go to Saturday's action. Not this Saturday, by the way, guys. This is all next week, but I want to have the bracket picked out by then. So now we're going to go to next Saturday's action where number 10, Miami, travels to College Station to take on the Texas A&M Aggies, where this game, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, I watched Texas A&M against the Longhorns, and I was not impressed with Marcel Reed. And when I look at A&M lately, they look very teetering. I don't know what they are lately. Miami's red hot. I think that Carson Beck and company, they've got receivers. Malachi Toney, an awesome freshman. I like the Hurricanes to pull off the upset. I think that the Aggies, Marcel Reed, they have not looked good lately. South Carolina, horrible first half. Texas, they didn't look that great last game of the year. I know they're home. Miami is rolling now. I feel like now that they're in, they're like, okay, everybody thought they wanted to keep us out until the last week. Let's prove to America why they are hot. And I think the Hurricanes pull off the upset in College Station and travel to the Cotton Bowl to take on Ohio State. Give me the Hurricanes to win 30-23 on A&M. I think Miami advances to play Ohio State. Now let's go to the 3:30 game on next Saturday, where Tulane Green Wave travel to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the Ole Miss Rebels, where Ole Miss is a huge favorite. And these two teams met earlier in the season. Ole Miss handily won, but that was with Lane Kiffin as their coach. Now, Pete Golding, their defensive coordinator, is the head coach for Ole Miss. And then they do have some assistants that Lane Kiffin allowed them to go back. Ole Miss allowed them to coach the bowl game. And I do think Ole Miss wins this game comfortably and easy. I do. I think they win 34-10 again. I think Ole Miss will continue to roll. And I think they are going to go to New Orleans to play in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. And I like Ole Miss to win at home. They're going to be playing really, really inspired that Lane Kiffin's now gone. They want to prove to the committee that they are a really good team. And it was not just all him. Ole Miss beats Tulane, goes to Georgia. Pretty much the easiest pick in America. Not until I go to this next game, where the James Madison Dukes travel to Alton Stadium to take on Oregon Ducks in Eugene. Oregon, and I'm not even hesitating this pick. This is the easiest pick of the weekend, or of that weekend. I like Oregon to win convincingly. I think they even drop 40 on this team. I think it's 41-10. I think this is a game. I'm telling you right now, I'd rather watch NFL on Saturday because it is Eagles-Commanders, which I'd rather watch. And then I would so watch Bears-Packers, this time in Soldier Field, Chicago, over JMU, Oregon. Sorry, this game, blowout city in Eugene, Alton Stadium. Dante Moore goes off 41-10. Oregon Ducks handle JMU, and they play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. So, recap of my winners. Oregon, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Miami. Those are my first round winners. All right, and I'll say it again when we go to guarantees on the playoff, but that's what I've got right now. So my second round matchups are Oregon, Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl, Oklahoma, Indiana in the Rose Bowl, Ole Miss, Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, Miami and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. All right, we're following? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go again by the time order. So in that case, we go back to Miami and Ohio State, where they will be playing in the Cotton Bowl. And I like Ohio State to beat Miami. I don't know how Miami is going to score with Ohio State. I feel like this team is motivated because they let a very, very bad offensive showing against Indiana separate them from being number one, going to the Rose Bowl, as opposed to now being in the Cotton Bowl, the number 2 seed. I feel like Miami, they made their playoff case. They're going to win a game, but I don't think they're going to get by Ohio State, even though I would be happy as hell if Miami upset Ohio State. Because I can't say an Ohio State fans, just like I can't say Alabama bandwagons. And I'll fight with Alabama bandwagons about them being in because they never should have been in. Ohio State, I can't stand Barstool Tin. I think he's the most delusional Ohio State fan in America. I can't stand him. He annoys me. He acts like Ohio State is that much above everybody. You need to lose a game. You need to lose, but it won't be Miami. They win, and they're going to go to the Fiesta Bowl and await the winner of Ole Miss, Georgia, which that'll be the last game I think we're going to pick for the second round matchups. So I've got Ohio State handling Miami in the Cotton Bowl and going to the Fiesta Bowl. Now let's go to Oregon, Texas Tech. Winner goes to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. This is really tough because, I think either one of these teams can win this game. I watched Texas Tech on Saturday. They got some dudes on defense. Oh my Lord. Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey, Romello Height. I mean, they got a big dude up in the middle. I don't remember his name, and I'm sorry if I don't remember your name, but my God, a defensive tackle. I just said the linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, but they got a big defensive tackle that, oh my God. He was huge. Looked like, I'm not saying he was Terrence Knight or Vince Wilfork, but he was massive. My one worry with Texas Tech is quarterback play. Baron Morton against that defense. Now, Oregon, they would love another rematch with Indiana. They would. Dante Moore, though, when he's played good defenses this year, he has not done well. And that's why I think I'm going to take Texas Tech to beat Oregon. This could be close, but I'm going to go with the Red Raiders to win and go to the Peach Bowl, win the Orange Bowl against Oregon. I love this Texas Tech defense. Baron Morton, I think, will do enough. I like the Red Raiders to go to the Peach Bowl. And let's go to the next game, which is going to be their opponent in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl that's playing in the Rose Bowl. Oklahoma, Indiana. I think Indiana wins. Not convincingly, but they win like they should. This will be a tough defense for Mendoza. First game of the Big Ten Championship win off the bye. I think Cignetti's got a game plan to counter the Oklahoma defense. They got a lot of guys that can rush the quarterback. I am going to go with Indiana, but it's going to be a little closer than the experts will say it is. And Indiana played close with Ohio State. I'm going to go with, and this is a low one too. I'm going, you guys be surprised. 20-13, Indiana beats Oklahoma. And I'm sorry I forgot the scores, guys. I'm going to probably give it to you when we add the actual matches. I am going to have Indiana meeting Texas Tech in the Peach Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and I think they're going to meet for a chance of national championship. Now, Ole Miss, Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Winner will meet Ohio State, I believe, and I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs because I think that Ole Miss's run ends here. I think that Georgia, I watched them against Alabama. Their defense really showed out. Trinidad Chambliss, I think, looked better at the first meeting because he had Lane Kiffin. I think with Pete Golding and Charlie Weiss Jr., even though Charlie Weiss Jr. was still the offensive coordinator all season, I just think that without Lane Kiffin, this is where Ole Miss gets exposed. And I think the Bulldogs, Gunnar Stockton's playing really well. Dylan Bell, really good receiver. I think, again, the Bulldogs, Frazier at running back, their defense is really good. Georgia will meet Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. And that is where we're going to pick up our next matchup. So we're down into the semifinals where I got Texas Tech meeting Indiana. And I've got Georgia, Ohio State in a semifinal. So we're going to go to the Fiesta Bowl where Georgia, Ohio State I've got. This is an NFL talent level game. There's a lot of guys in this game that are going to be pros. Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, arguably the two best coaches in college football at this moment. I am going to go, and again, I'm going to be making it very clear. I would root for Georgia like crazy this game. I want Ohio State out. But if I'm being totally honest, the only hope the Bulldogs have is they play really good defense like they did against Ty Simpson, and they make Julian Sayin look like he did against Indiana. But do I think that's likely? It can happen. But I also like to pick upsets too. You know what? I can't do it. Give me Ohio State to beat Georgia. This is going to be a close game. I just think Ohio State's defense against Kirby Smart and that Georgia offense. I think Gunnar Stockton, he might not really do as well as we think against this defense. And I think he's good. But is he top-notch college football quarterback level good that can beat a really good defense? No. Ohio State beats Georgia to go to the national championship in Miami. Now, Texas Tech, Indiana in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Oh, this is a good game, and again, I'm rooting for one of these teams to win it all because I like when we get teams that have never been really insane in a while to now where they're really good. Indiana, first time they're ever really this good under Curt Cignetti. I know last year they were good, but they weren't tested and able to win a lot of marquee games like they have this year. And they've been the fun story. Okay? Texas Tech, though, guys, their defense, this is really good. This is the NIL money team that is awesome. Oh, this is tough to pick. You know what? I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going with the Red Raiders, Texas Tech, to upset Indiana. Number one's out. We don't get a Big Ten championship game rematch. Texas Tech and their defense meets Ohio State in the national championship. That's what I've got in Miami. Now, I am aware that Texas Tech is the college of Patrick Mahomes. I know. I am also aware that if Ohio State wins, I have to hear Barstool Tate fucking be so delusionally annoying. And I don't want to hear him. He's so annoying. I don't want to have to hear Ohio State fans gloat about their team. I really don't. Texas Tech has a defense that can win a championship, but so does Ohio State. I would root for Texas Tech like crazy if this happened. I would. I just don't trust Baron Morton to do it. I don't. It pains me to say this, but I've got Ohio State winning it all. I just think their path is very nice. Georgia will probably be their toughest path to win it all again. And again, because Caleb Downs is still there. Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese is really good. The only team to beat them was Indiana. And I'm not saying Indiana can't get there, but I think Mendoza against that Texas Tech defense, I think that's where it ends. But then Ohio State is going to win it, and then I'm like, great, I got to hear Ohio State fans gloat. So I'm going with Ohio State to beat Texas Tech and win back-to-back national championships. And it's going to pain me because then I'm going to have to hear Barstool Tate gloat, and he's annoying. Give me the Buckeyes to beat the Red Raiders, and they are going to win the national championship. So that is my college football playoff bracket based on everything we know from the matchups. Now, next week, we're going to change up some things a little bit. I'm waiting to hear word from a friend if he is going to meet me in studio next week. I don't think he is right now, but there's a possibility. If I don't have a guest in studio next week, we're going to do Monday's show normal. It's going to be in the morning. I don't want to do it after Dolphins Steelers because it doesn't have any meaningful impact worth talking about. So Monday, we're going to have it in the morning. It'll be out in the afternoon. We're going to go over Week 15 NFL analysis. That's the basis of Monday's show. Then we're going to I'm going to probably record Wednesday night and have it out to you guys by Thursday morning. Since I got somewhere Thursday I have to be. But I will have the show recorded for next Wednesday that will be out Thursday morning. And that will be the Week 16 picks for NFL. We'll have guarantees. We'll have the college football first round guarantees. As far as bowl games are concerned, they're so hard to predict because if I pick a team and then a player's out, it sucks. So we're not going to do bowl games as much. Maybe we'll throw a couple ones in there for picks. If you're asking me Army, Navy, who am I rooting for? I think Navy's going to a bowl game, right? So, and honestly, that's it's tough. Just for the heck of it, and I don't know much, I'm going with Navy because they're a bowl team, and I think Navy beats Army for Saturday. I feel like I can't end the show without picking Army-Navy. So I'm going Navy to beat Army. But anyway, guys, that is going to conclude today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell on YouTube. We are going to have more episodes throughout the month of December. We're almost halfway. But you don't want to miss it because we've got content involving the playoff picture. We've got content involving Super Bowl predictions. We're going to have the full playoff bracket out soon. We're going to have guests in studio to talk the playoff bracket, to talk about who they think can win it all, some of the storylines going in, and that is going to be some content you do not want to miss out on YouTube. You can also follow us on Rumble. We're trying to build a community on Rumble. We can't do it without you guys. So those of you following us on Rumble, thank you very much. But those of you that are looking to follow us on Rumble, please give me a follow on Rumble. You can also follow me at Loungetime Pod on X, where, yes, if you tweet me a question that you have on Loungetime, I will answer it. Trust me, I will give you your couple minutes of fame if you give me a question that you want answered on the show. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Loungetime. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys on Monday following the NFL Week 15 Sunday games, and we will talk about some of the games. Until then, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a great weekend, everybody.